The shadow of conquest. The void of space stretched endlessly beyond the viewport of the Axion flagship Inevitable Dominance. Grand Admiral Krez stood motionless, his 4 arms clasped behind his back, as he observed the small blue-green world that would soon join the ever-expanding empire. His scaled skin reflected the soft blue glow of the command console, highlighting the intricate patterns that denoted his high rank and countless victories. "Status report?" Krez demanded, his voice a low rumble that commanded immediate attention. "Commander," Bexar approached with practiced precision. "The human outpost on Helio 7 has activated their defensive shields, Grand Admiral. Standard resistance pattern, just like the other 43 species we've encountered." Krez's mouth twitched in what his species considered a smile. "And like those 43 species, they will fall." "How many ships in their defense fleet?" 6 vessels, Grand Admiral. Small and primitive by our standards, our scans indicate basic energy weapons and rudimentary shielding technology. Begin the standard approach. 3 warships should be sufficient. Save the rest of the fleet's energy for the next system. Krez turned from the viewport, already considering the conquest a foregone conclusion. For over 2 centuries, the Axion Empire had expanded unchallenged across the galaxy. Their method never changed because it never needed to. Arrive with overwhelming force, demonstrate superiority, and accept surrender. Those who resisted were swiftly crushed as examples. The Axion technology advanced with each civilization they absorbed, creating an unstoppable cycle of conquest. Krez had personally overseen the acquisition of 78 worlds. Not once had he encountered significant resistance. Not once had he tasted defeat. Today would prove different. Captain Elena Reyes stood on the bridge of the Earth science vessel Harbinger, her dark eyes focused on the holographic display before her. At 41, she had spent more than half her life in space, but the vastness of the void still filled her with wonder. The Harbinger was humanity's most advanced ship, a perfect blend of exploration vessel and warship, built for the dangerous frontier of space. "Captain, we're receiving a distress signal from Helio 7, reported Communications Officer Thomas Chen. "They're under attack by unknown vessels, massive ones." Elena's expression hardened. For months, rumors had circulated about an unstoppable alien force moving methodically through the outer systems. Many had dismissed these reports as exaggerations. Elena had not. "Distance to Helio 7, she asked. Lieutenant Commander Sophia Park, the ship's navigator, responded immediately. "At maximum conventional speed, 14 hours, Captain." "Too long," Elena muttered. She turned to her chief engineer. "Dr. Abrams, status of the Phantom, field." Dr. Marcus Abrams looked up from his console, his gray hair disheveled as always. "The phase drive is at 92% stability. It's still experimental, Captain. We haven't completed all the safety protocols. Will it get us to Helio 7 in time to make a difference?" Elena interrupted. Abrams hesitated only briefly. "Yes, we could be there in under an hour, but I can't guarantee what happens when we arrive." Elena nodded. The Harbinger carried humanity's most closely guarded secret, the phantom field technology that allowed a ship to partially phase out of normal space, becoming semi-transparent to both matter and conventional sensors. It had been developed for scientific exploration, to study dangerous cosmic phenomena up close. No one had envisioned using it in combat. Until now. "Prepare the phantom field, Dr. Abrams. Lieutenant Park, set course for Helio 7, maximum speed." Elena addressed the bridge crew, her voice steady and resolute. "I know we're a research vessel, but today we're the only hope those colonists have. Our orders are to observe and report, but I cannot in good conscience leave our people to die. Anyone who objects to this course of action may log their dissent now." The bridge remained silent. Lieutenant Chen finally spoke. "Captain, we're with you. Those are our people out there." Elena nodded. "Engage phantom field on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark." The stars outside the viewport blurred as the Harbinger slipped partially out of normal space, accelerating to speeds that defied conventional Physics Commander Vexar approached the Grand Admiral with visible apprehension. Grand Admiral, the human outpost continues to resist. Their shields are holding longer than our calculations predicted. Krez's inner eyelids flicked with annoyance. Increase power to the disruptors. I want those shields down within the hour. There's something else, sir. Vexar hesitated. Our long-range sensors detected an energy anomaly approaching from the human core systems. It's unlike anything we've encountered before. Krez turned sharply. Explain. It appears to be moving at impossible speeds, sir, and our sensors can't maintain a lock. It's as if it exists only partially in normal space. For the first time in decades, Krez felt a flicker of unease. In all their conquests, the Axion had never encountered technology that surpassed their understanding. They were always the superior force, the more advanced civilization. Bring all ships to combat readiness, Krez ordered. Redirect power from planetary bombardment to our shields. Is that necessary for one anomalous reading, Grand Admiral? Vexar questioned. Krez's eyes narrowed. 200 years of conquest have taught me one thing, Commander. Complacency breeds defeat. The Harbinger materialized at the edge of the Helios 7 system, the phantom field crackling with energy as the ship phased back into normal space. The sight that greeted them was grim. 3 massive alien vessels surrounded the small outpost, firing relentlessly at its weakening shields. My God, whispered Lieutenant Chen. Each of those ships is at least 20 times our size. Elena assessed the tactical display quickly. Life signs at the outpost? 817, reported Security Chief Levy. Shields at 12%, and failing. Dr. Abrams, can we extend our phantom field around the outpost? Abrams shook his head. Not possible, Captain. The field can only contain our ship, but he paused, his mind working through possibilities. We could position ourselves between the attackers and the outpost. When they fire, their weapons would pass through us harmlessly while in the phantom state, and we could drop back to normal space to return fire. A ghost ship, Elena said with a grim smile. They won't know what hit them. Let's do it. The Harbinger accelerated toward the alien vessels, phasing in and out of normal space, in a pattern that made targeting impossible. The alien ships detected their approach and redirected some of their fire, but the energy beams passed harmlessly through the Harbinger when it was in its phantom state. They're trying to hit us, but can't get a lock, reported Tactical Officer Rodriguez. Their targeting systems seem confused. Position us directly in their line of fire to the outpost, Elena ordered. Weapons hot. The moment we drop the phantom field, I want everything we have directed at the lead ship's weapons array. The Harbinger slipped between the massive alien vessels and the outpost, a spectral guardian that flickered in and out of existence. The alien ships continued firing, but their weapons now passed harmlessly through both the Harbinger and into empty space beyond. In position, Park announced. On my mark, drop phantom field and fire all weapons. 3, 2, 1, mark. The Harbinger solidified fully into normal space for 3 crucial seconds. All weapon systems fired simultaneously, sending a concentrated barrage of quantum torpedoes and focused energy beams at the lead alien ship. The precision strikes found their mark, disabling the alien's main weapons array in a series of explosions that rippled across its hull. Before the other ships could respond, the Harbinger phased back into its phantom state. On the bridge of the inevitable dominance, chaos erupted. Weapons control on Warship 1 is disabled, shouted a tactical officer. Impossible, Vexar exclaimed. What hit them? Where is the attacking vessel? The tactical display showed nothing but a flickering anomaly where a solid ship should be. Krez stared at it, comprehension dawning. In 2 centuries of conquest, this was entirely new. They've developed phase-shifting technology, he said quietly, almost appreciatively. They can exist between states of matter. How do we fight something we can't hit? Vexar demanded. We adapt, Krez replied simply. That is how the Axion have conquered the galaxy. Prepare the gravity net. If they must phase to avoid our weapons, then we will force them to remain solid. Back on the Harbinger, the initial success was tempered by caution. We've disabled one weapons array, but they have dozens more, Rodriguez reported. And the phantom field is drawing enormous power. We can't maintain this indefinitely. Elena nodded. We don't need to defeat them, just buy enough time for evacuation. Pods to launch from the outpost. Open a channel to Helios 7. The face of Outpost Commander Sarah Winters appeared on screen, her expression a mixture of relief and disbelief. Captain Reyes, how are you doing this? Their weapons were cutting through our shields like they weren't even there. We have experimental technology, Commander, but we can't hold them off forever. Begin immediate evacuation of all personnel. We'll cover your escape. Understood, Captain. And thank you. Evacuation procedures initiated. Elena turned to her. Tactical officer. Keep us between those ships and the outpost. Coordinate with Dr. Abrams to time our attacks during the solid phase for maximum impact. For the next 20 minutes, the Harbinger performed an elaborate dance of appearance and disappearance, striking with precise ferocity whenever it phased into solid form. The alien vessels, despite their overwhelming size and firepower, could not land a significant hit on the elusive human ship until the trap was sprung. Captain, Dr. Abrams shouted, they're generating some kind of gravity distortion field. It's interfering with the phantom field's stability. The ship shuddered violently as it was suddenly pulled fully into normal space. Alarms blared across the bridge. Phantom field failing, Abrams reported. They've found a way to force us to remain solid. Elena reacted instantly. All power to shields, evasive maneuvers. But it was too late. The 3 alien vessels had positioned themselves strategically, and now all opened fire on the suddenly vulnerable Harbinger. The ship rocked under the massive assault. Shields at 40% and dropping fast, Rodriguez called out. Elena's mind raced. They couldn't outgun the aliens, and now they couldn't outmaneuver them either. But the evacuation pods were only halfway launched. They needed more time. Dr. Abrams, can you modify the phantom field to create multiple images of our ship? Make them think we're in several places at once? Theoretically, yes, but it would require redirecting power from weapons and life support. Do it, Elena ordered without hesitation, and prepare to overload the phantom field generator on my command. The crew looked at her with understanding and grim determination. What she was suggesting was desperate, possibly suicidal, but they had all witnessed the ruthless efficiency of the alien attackers. If these beings reached Earth, humanity would face extinction. As Dr. Abrams worked frantically to reconfigure the phantom field, Elena opened a channel to the alien fleet. This is Captain Elena Reyes of the Earth Science vessel Harbinger. You are attacking a peaceful outpost without provocation. We demand you withdraw immediately. There was a moment of silence before a reply came. The translator struggled to convert the alien language, but the meaning was clear enough. I am Grand Admiral Krez of the Axion Empire. Your world will be the next to join our dominion. Your technology is impressive, but ultimately futile. Surrender now, and your deaths will be painless. Elena smiled coldly. We would rather die free than live under your rule. And as you've seen today, we're capable of more than you expected. One ship cannot stand against our fleet, Krez replied dismissively. This is just the beginning, Elena countered. Earth has hundreds of ships with this technology, and now that we know you're coming, we'll be ready. It was a bluff. The Harbinger was the only vessel equipped with the phantom field generator. But Elena delivered it with absolute conviction. You have 2 choices, she continued. Leave now or face destruction. Before Krez could respond, she cut the transmission. Evacuation status? She demanded. 80% complete, Chen reported. 5 minutes more and all personnel will be away. Multiple phantom field projections ready, Abrams announced. But the generator is becoming unstable. We can't maintain this for long. Activate the projections, then set the phantom field generator to overload in exactly 5 minutes, Elena ordered. That should coincide with the completion of the evacuation. Captain, Rodriguez said quietly, if we overload the generator while still on board, Elena met his gaze steadily. I'm aware of the consequences, Lieutenant, but I'm also open to alternatives if anyone has a better idea. Security Chief Levy spoke up. The outpost has several long-range shuttles in their secondary hangar. If we position ourselves close enough during our final attack, we could potentially abandon ship and reach those shuttles. Elena nodded. Make it happen. All crew to prepare for emergency evacuation on my mark. Let's show these Axion that humanity doesn't surrender easily. The Harbinger suddenly split into 6 identical images, each seemingly solid to the Axion sensors. The alien fleet divided their fire, unsure which target was real. Using this confusion, the real Harbinger slipped closer to the outpost, its phantom field generator building toward a catastrophic overload. In the chaos of battle, as evacuation, pods streamed from the outpost and phantom images of the Harbinger danced around the Axion fleet. A small drama of survival was unfolding. A single ship had changed the course of what should have been a routine conquest, and for the first time in 2 centuries, the Axion Empire faced something they had never encountered before. Uncertainty, defiance. Among the stars, aboard the inevitable. Dominance. Grand Admiral Krez stared at the tactical display with growing frustration. The human vessel had seemingly multiplied, with 6 identical ships now darting through his fleet, appearing and disappearing like phantoms. Which one is real? He demanded. Commander Vexar shook his head. Impossible to determine, Grand Admiral. Our sensors detect solid mass from all targets intermittently. They're using their phase technology to create projections, Krez realized. Focus fire on the ship closest to the outpost. That's most likely the real one. As the Axion fleet adjusted their strategy, Krez couldn't help but feel a grudging respect for these humans. In all his years of conquest, no species had shown such adaptability in the face of overwhelming odds. It was refreshing but also dangerous. Commander, prepare a quantum data probe. I want to learn everything about this phase technology. If we cannot destroy it, we will take it. Captain Elena Reyes felt the Harbinger shudder as another barrage struck their weakening shields. The phantom field generator was reaching critical levels, energy fluctuations cascading through the ship's systems. Evacuation pods from Helios 7 are clear of the combat zone, Chen reported. All 817 colonists accounted for. Elena nodded. Good. Begin our crew evacuation. I'll need volunteers to stay behind and ensure the phantom field generator overloads properly. I'll stay, Dr. Abrams said immediately. No one understands the system better than I do. And you'll need a pilot, Lieutenant Park added. And tactical support, Rodriguez chimed in. Elena looked at her brave crew with pride. 3 is enough. The rest of you head to the escape pods. Set course for the rendezvous coordinates. If we're successful, the resulting explosion should disable or severely damage the Axion fleet, giving you enough time to reach safety. As the crew hurried to comply, Elena turned to her remaining officers. Rodriguez, focus all remaining weapons on their flagship. Dr. Abrams, status of the phantom field generator? 2 minutes to critical overload. The energy readings are off the charts, Captain. When this goes, it's going to create a rupture in space-time unlike anything we've seen before. Elena nodded grimly. Let's make it count. Lieutenant Park, get us as close to their flagship as possible. The Harbinger's phantom projections began to flicker and fade as the ship diverted all remaining power to its approach vector and weapons. The Axion fleet, realizing which vessel was real, concentrated their fire. Shields failing, Rodriguez called out as the ship rocked violently. 30 seconds to critical overload, Abrams reported. We need to get to the escape pods now, Captain. Go, Elena ordered. I'll set the final approach and join you. As her remaining officers raced toward the escape pod, Elena locked in the collision course with the Axion flagship. The Harbinger was wounded but defiant, charging directly toward the massive alien vessel. Elena took one last look at the bridge where she had spent so many years, then ran for the escape pod. The ship shuddered and groaned around her as systems failed catastrophically. She reached the pod just as Dr. Abrams was sealing the door. Cutting it close, Captain, he said with a tight smile. Some traditions never die, she replied as she strapped herself in. Launch! The escape pod ejected from the dying Harbinger, just as the phantom field generator reached critical mass. Behind them, their ship, humanity's most advanced vessel, careened toward the Axion flagship, phasing in and out of reality as the overloading generator created ripples in space-time. On the bridge of the inevitable dominance, alarms blared as the human vessel approached on a collision course. "Evasive maneuvers," Krez ordered. "No time," Vexar shouted. "And our weapons aren't slowing it down." Krez watched with a mixture of disbelief and admiration as the small human ship, not even a proper warship, hurtled toward his command vessel. "They're overloading their phase technology," he realized. "Clear the bridge. All hands to escape pods." But it was too late. The Harbinger collided with the inevitable dominance just as the phantom field generator detonated. The resulting explosion was unlike anything witnessed in known space. The human vessel didn't simply explode. It created a phantom field cascade that spread outward in a wave of semi-phased energy. The Axion flagship, caught at the epicenter, was torn apart as sections of the ship phased in and out of reality, solid matter intersecting with itself in impossible configurations. Two nearby Axion vessels suffered similar fates, their massive hulls shredding as the phantom wave passed through them. 3 months later, Captain Elena Reyes stood before the United Earth Defense Council, her dress uniform adorned with the newly created Medal of Extraordinary Valor. The chamber was packed with military officials, scientists, and representatives from a dozen alien species who had suffered under Axion rule. "The Battle of Helios 7 changed everything," Admiral Chen stated, addressing the assembly. "For the first time in their history, the Axion Empire failed to conquer a target. More importantly, they lost their Grand Admiral and 3 of their most powerful warships." Elena stepped forward to deliver her report. "In the aftermath of the battle, we discovered something unexpected. The Axion Empire is not as unified as they wanted us to believe. Multiple conquered species have risen in rebellion since news of their defeat spread. We've established contact with resistance movements on 17 formerly Axion-controlled worlds." The holographic display behind her showed the current state of the galaxy, with Axion territory now fragmented and shrinking. "More importantly," she continued, "we've formed an alliance with 6 other species who have developed technologies that complement our phantom field innovations. Together, we're developing a fleet that combines Talesian energy manipulation, Voron quantum shielding, and human phase technology." Admiral Chen nodded. The Axion believed their method of conquest was infallible because it had never failed. "One ship, your ship, Captain Reyes, showed them and the galaxy that determination and ingenuity can overcome even the most overwhelming odds." Elena thought about her lost ship and the brave crew members who had given their lives at Helios 7. The Harbinger was designed to be a vessel of scientific exploration. In the end, it discovered something more valuable than any cosmic phenomenon. It discovered that freedom is worth fighting for no matter the odds. The assembly rose in a standing ovation, but Elena barely noticed. Her thoughts were already on the future. The Axion had been delayed, not defeated. They would return, more cautious perhaps, but no less determined. And humanity would be ready. On a distant world at the edge of Axion space, a new flagship neared completion. The inescapable. Vengeance was twice the size of its predecessor, its hull gleaming with dark purpose. On its bridge stood Commander Vexar, now Admiral Vexar, one of the few survivors of the Helios 7 disaster. "Status report," he demanded, his voice carrying the same authority as his former commander. "All systems operational, Admiral," reported his second-in-command. "The anti-phase generators are installed and tested. No human vessel will be able to use their phantom technology within 10 light-years of this ship." Vexar nodded in satisfaction. "And the prototype?" "Ready for your inspection, Admiral." Vexar walked to a sealed chamber at the rear of the bridge. Inside floated a small device salvaged from the wreckage at Helios 7, a partially intact component of the human phantom field generator. Axion scientists had been studying it relentlessly. "How long until we can replicate it?" he asked. 1 year, perhaps 2. "The physics involved are challenging." Vexar's 4 eyes narrowed. "The humans did it with far fewer resources than we have. Double the research team. I want a working prototype in 6 months." "Yes, Admiral." Vexar turned back to the viewport. staring at the stars that had once seemed to promise endless conquest. "The humans believe they've won a great victory," he said quietly. "They don't realize they've merely awakened a sleeping giant. We will learn from this defeat. We will adapt. And when we return—" He left the threat unfinished, but the implication was clear. The Axion Empire had suffered its first setback in 2 centuries of expansion. But like all empires, it would learn from failure and emerge stronger. The game had changed, but the war was far from over. Throughout the galaxy, species that had lived in fear now looked to the stars with hope. A single human ship had accomplished what countless armies could not. It had shown that the Axion could be defeated. The myth of their invincibility was shattered. On 100 worlds, resistance fighters whispered the name Harbinger like a prayer. On 1,000 more, oppressed peoples dared to dream of freedom. And in the shipyards of Earth, a new vessel took shape, the Harbinger II, equipped with an improved phantom field generator and the collective wisdom of 6 allied species. Its mission would not be merely exploration or defense, but to bring the fight directly to the heart of the Axion Empire. The stars looked on, patient and eternal, as a new chapter in galactic history began to unfold. A chapter written not in the language of conquest but in the universal tongue of defiance.